Guys, we're honored to welcome someone who is a very resilient individual, very determined, and nothing short of inspirational. Diana has faced the hardest of life challenges from surviving human trafficking to enduring the pain of widowhood. But she's not just a survivor, she's a powerhouse. That's right. And she's not just a survivor, she's a powerhouse. She's a former C-level executive, an innovative fashion designer, a dedicated bodybuilder, and an expert in skincare. Her achievements don't stop there. She currently holds the title of Miss Chicago American Nation 2021. With a life rich in experiences, when Diana decides to do something, she does it big.
Mm.
Now gracing the world of podcasting, let's dive into her incredible journey. Welcome, Diana.
Thank you for having me, Saeed.
It's a pleasure to have you, Diana. And I want to start off with a quote. A
Okay.
quote from one of your stories. You described yourself by saying you always want to feel empowered, you want to feel beautiful, and you want to feel sexy.
Mm-hmm.
What can you
Yeah.
tell us about that?
I think that women are programmed at an early age that being all those things are bad. And for me, I think that I've fought to really embrace those titles and not think that they are
Hmm.
wrong. Even despite being in human trafficking, sex work, being abused and having just, unfortunate experiences. I think that is a very powerful thing for a woman to feel sexy and empowered. And, there's nothing wrong with feeling that way. If anything, I think it allows them to stand out and just to really seem confident.
Very true. And what do you tell people that when they look at women that are trying to look sexy and they're trying to look beautiful, by
Mhm.
by their clothes or by whatever kind of treatments they're trying to do, and they look at them in a way as if they're trying to show off.
Hmm.
What's your response to that?
Well, it takes a lot of work. Okay. So if they want to show off, they've earned that right because it does not come easy. For someone
Hmm.
like me that, I used to spend go to the gym twice a day. So I was in the gym for maybe 2, 3 hours a day. I'm putting in the time and the effort to feel that way. And so, and getting the treatment. So if you go to get facial treatments, or Botox or whatever it is, it takes time and money. So when you're investing in yourself, I think that you're really showing that you value who you are, and it's okay to hold your head high and be like, yeah, I am this woman. It's okay. I've earned it. I've put the time in. I put the work in. So I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I personally am like a total cheerleader for other women. So when I see someone like that, I like, oh wow, I can respect it because I know the effort it takes to be at that level and to look that good and just to be put very well together.
It's a very fair point. And to be honest, the way I see it is when a person is working on themselves, it's just natural sometimes that it's not their showing off in a way, it's just their confidence starts to kind of
Yes.
like splurge out, you know?
Yes.
It
Hmm.
just it just comes out of you and you want to share it. And it's not by choice, it just naturally happens.
Yeah.
Because when you're confident, you just start wanna like speak louder. You
Yeah.
wanna you want to shine a bit
Yeah.
more and you just naturally stand out. It's just how
Hmm.
it works.
It's the same for a man. So let's say a man he was kind of shy and through school, maybe a little bit overweight, didn't get any girls' attention. As he gets a little bit older and starts investing in himself, going to the gym, eating right, shedding those
Hmm.
extra pounds, taking a little bit more care of himself, and starting to get attention from women, he's going to radiate that confidence too. It works the same for men and women. It's just about if you are investing that time and knowing the sacrifices that you're making to look that way and to be that person. Because self improvement is a lifelong journey. And just because you are looking better, you're radiating and shining this bright light, does not mean that it's a bad thing.
100%. And also this confidence that comes out of you can also have like a trickle down effect.
Hmm.
It can in a way like influence others so that they can have that confidence. They can not necessarily leech from you, but they can learn from you, and then
Yes.
they can have that. confidence and that energy level that you have and start exhibiting it, because they start picking up on the nuances and the small techniques that you're doing, the small like movements, body language,
Yeah.
speech, all of these little things. They start picking them up and start using them themselves, because in the end we're all social creatures and we learn
Mhm.
from each other,
Yeah.
and that's how we all like elevate. We learn from
Yes.
each other.
Agreed. I totally agree. Well, I mean, just think about it. Who inspires you? I think everybody has someone that has inspired them or has made an impact in their life.
Mhm.
So if you are going around and you've built yourself up and you've did all this work on yourself, whether it's self improvement mentally, physically, emotionally, and you are like your star is rising and you're just emanating this beautiful energy around you, you are becoming an inspiration for someone else. So if there is someone that you looked up to and that made an impact on your life, there's no reason why you can't do that for others as well.
100%. And I want to ask you a question about the hidden power behind dressing to impress.
So, I've always, when I was little, I used to dress up in my grandmother's clothes and her heels and her hats and everything. And my mother always dressed impeccably for work. She always just like very well put herself together very well. I started garage sailing at a very young age, and I used to like cut grass, and I used to babysit and save my money. And then I'd ride my bike to the fashion, the at that time I think it was Fashion Outlet in Wooddale, and that's in Illinois. And I would buy these really beautiful dresses for real cheap. I'm like a teenager in high school, and I would buy these beautiful dresses that women would wear to like work, to the office. I would wear them to school. And I remember because I wasn't very popular in high school. I was kind of like a bookworm, just a nerd, just really like all to myself because, I was raised in an abusive home. So I wasn't very social at that point. And
Yeah.
wearing those clothes really was like a protective shield for me. Like I didn't care if they made fun of me and they're looking at me. It made me feel good. And so as I've gotten older in life and when I've had a bad day, I will just I that's when I want to put myself together the most, because if I can respect myself and honor myself and to show up, dress up regardless of the bad day I'm having or the bad conversation I've had or bad news, it still makes me feel good, and it's still like that protective shield when I was like a teenager. Does that make sense?
It does make sense because I understand that. I mean, I'm a bit fruity as well when I a bit on with my style. Like you'll see
I
me
like your
wearing
shirt. I love the tropical look.
this is the first time I do this theme
I
for the
like it.
podcast. Thank you. I was contemplating whether I should wear a pink shirt. I
Pink
just
would
thought
look good
like
on you
maybe
too. I think you pull that off.
all colors. I'm wearing all the colors in my life. I mix and match so many things. Sometimes I just look like a the end of a what's coming out of a unicorn. You know how they say
You
a
know
rainbow's
what?
coming out of a unicorn? So
A
that's
man that can wear colors confidently is a real man. I'm sorry. I love it. So I think it's good. Keep doing it.
thank you. I'll take
Keep
the compliment.
keep doing you, boo.
So, um, obviously, with all of this, standing out with your clothing and also looking good, do you believe that maybe being the center of attention is kind of important to you? And is it a tool that you can use as well?
No. I do not like being the center of attention. It actually makes me very uncomfortable. When I go to
Hmm.
networking events, I actually have to have a couple drinks to kind of like relax me to start talking to people. No, because I,
Yeah.
I, I was very shy as a little girl. Like I used to hide behind my mother's leg. I've always been one that will just sit back and listen and not really talk first. So, I'm probably more social and outgoing than I've ever been in my life now, now that I'm more comfortable in my skin and my age and blah, 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 all those things. But no, I don't like being the center of attention. It's not something that makes me feel comfortable.
Hmm. I I've heard recently something about how you know how a person hides in the shadows,
Yeah.
when especially like in social events.
Mm-hmm.
I recently heard something about hiding in the spotlight,
Mm.
which was a very interesting message that was being shared. It's using the spotlight in a way where you don't necessarily are projecting your true self.
Hmm.
You're maybe using camouflage
Yeah.
or like a certain mask
Yeah.
which is being projected.
That makes sense.
What do you think about that one?
That makes sense. I could see that. I don't know if I do that personally at all. I am who I am. Like what you see is what you get. Some days I got makeup on, some days I do not. Like I'm not really, I'm completely natural today except for a little lip gloss. So I think that some people can do that and they can portray like a character to make people think
Yeah.
that they're a certain kind of way when maybe they're really like maybe suffering inside or they're hiding something inside that they don't want people to see. So that makes sense. I mean, psychology is super deep. We could go down that rabbit hole and explore all different angles because we are very complex people. And that's why, like, being label free is so important to me because we are not just one thing. And we shouldn't allow ourselves to ever think that we are one thing because we are constantly evolving and changing and growing.
Hmm. And I remember before the podcast, we talked about how you want to be, your message is to be about being label free
Hmm.
and focusing more on titles. So, for example, the words that I used to describe you in the beginning, they shouldn't be considered as labels, they
No.
should be considered as titles.
Yeah.
Maybe you can educate us a bit about that.
So I think labels are what your parents think you're supposed to be, what you think you're supposed to be, perhaps some trauma that's happened to you, perhaps some abuse that's happened to you, maybe something that someone told you that you are, you're not. Like there are many labels can be very prohibiting, can be very destructive, and I think that it's a negative connotation. I know some people think that there needs to be labels for certain things. I disagree. I think that a title does not define who you are. A title's just a title. It's something to describe someone. It's not a label. Is basically saying who you are. Like, okay, I want you to be a doctor. Your parents want you to be a doctor, or or you're raised thinking that you're supposed to be married with 2.5 kids with a white picket fence, or you're not supposed. A woman's not supposed to work or be confident or speak out. These are labels that people can put on us what the expectations of what they're supposed to be. Or I could say the label is I've had much abuse, so I'm damaged. I've been in sexual I've been human trafficking, so I'm defective. There's something wrong with me. I should be ashamed, right? These are labels. I think a title is something that can describe perhaps what you've been through or like what your expertise is and not who you are.
Okay. And could you tell us more about the labels that you grew up with, the labels that you thought defined you, and then how did you overcome them?
Well, I think we're all indoctrinated to be a certain way. Like, okay, you're born into this world. You got to follow the religious path that your parents put you on. You're expected to get married as a woman. You're supposed to get married and have kids. You're supposed to go to college. You're never supposed to think outside of the box, question authority, or question different things that happen in this world. You're supposed to follow the herd, right? And I think that for me, I have no problem with religion. It was never a negative thing. My parents actually were very open with allowing me to choose what I believe. But definitely like being a strong woman that got into bodybuilding. My mom, oh, you shouldn't eat like that. You're gonna get big. I could not get big. I'd have to take a ton of drugs to ever get crazy big, like some of those massive bodybuilders. So that was something. Like I pursued bodybuilding. I loved it. It's a great sport. It exercises discipline. I mean, you're just really and just like relying on yourself and being confident. Nobody knows what it's like to get in front of like several hundred people almost naked. That's like that's nerve-wracking. I mean, so and also being abused. My father was very abusive mentally, verbally, and it's hard not to carry that trauma with you in life and believe those things. And so, of course, because I had that experience, I attracted another abusive man. And that's when I got thrown into human trafficking and sex work. And he stabbed me, he abducted me, he would break into my home. And like, just, it was not a good experience. So I personally had to unprogram or deprogram and go through a lot of counseling to know that I am worthy. Because when you are raised in an abusive home and your father is treating like this, you don't think that you're worthy. these are damaging and could really ultimately end your life. I mean, I was doing a lot of drugs. This man stabbed me. He stabbed me. He abducted me. I fought back, so that's why I'm here today. Or who knows? I probably be dead at the bottom of that lake he took me to. So, these are really serious things that happen to people that they carry with them their whole entire life until they say enough. I am worthy. I'm valuable. I am not defined by those experiences or what anybody told me or did to me.
Yeah, it's quite an experience. I mean, obviously, I cannot relate to that. I obviously had my own labels growing up as well, but nothing similar to you. My labels were simple. It's just like the stereotypical Arab
Yeah,
labels of just either become an engineer, either become a doctor, just stay religious, stay with the family, and like
yeah,
follow your faith.
yeah.
Those kind of things. It's a bit different the way my life trajectory is going, but
In a
you
good
still
way.
learn.
In a good way.
Yeah. It's like more following my path, I guess.
Good.
That's how I
That's
would
good.
call it.
Good for you. That takes
Yeah,
courage.
it does. But obviously, every person has their own traumas in life, and
Yeah, of course.
it's just like it's just something to go through.
Yes,
You learn from them.
I agree. Yes, yes, we do. Hopefully, we learn from them. Some people don't learn the first time; they got to learn it over and over and over again. So we pray for those
100%.
people.
Yeah, I think what happens is people have to go through these traumas so that they can learn from them and become better.
Mm,
But when they don't learn from them, they tend to go through the same trauma over and over
yeah.
again
Mm,
until eventually they wake up and they figure it out and they're like, "Oh, okay, this is supposed to be a message. I should take the sign."
yeah. Yeah.
It's and I feel like most people think like when it comes to signs, it's like the first thought they have is, "Oh, it's like if a girl is hitting on me."
Yeah.
It's like, no, there's signs everywhere. Signs in life, signs in relationships, signs in business, signs your body, your your mental health.
Yep.
All of everything has its own signs, its own symptoms, and they can all teach you something. You just have to really listen.
Yes.
And I feel like that's the most important thing. It's to actually listen.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah, 1000%. And a lot of people are not really in touch with that, which is really kind of sad. I probably
Yeah.
am very more intuitive just because of I choose to be that way and I want to listen to myself. And I actually was surprised. One of my sisters was like, "I'm not really that in touch with my body," and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I didn't think." I thought because she's my sister, we both have it, right? But that's not the
Yeah.
case. Not everybody is as in tune with themselves, and it's important to listen. It really is.
Hmm. And Diana, I don't know if you want to go deep into this topic, but I do want to ask you a bit about how the sex trafficking industry works.
Mm.
I mean, obviously you've had first-hand experience. Obviously you can definitely say no. I'm not. I don't want to hash up a topic you don't want to talk about. But if you're willing, maybe you can share something about it.
So, yeah, I'm happy to talk about it. And I think that had there been more education early on for me as a young person, it probably could have been prevented. Um, when I finally started talking about some of my past, on podcasts and just being open about it, I no longer have any skeletons in my closet. They're all out there. Um, I had done an event against human trafficking in June of 2019, and it took
Hmm.
8 months to prepare for that event. And what I learned along the way is that there are a lot of women out there that have been exposed to some form of human trafficking, and what that means is sexual abuse by a neighbor, sexual abuse by a family member. Obviously, a boyfriend having you do threesomes with his friends when you don't want to, but he's coercing you into it. Having a man or someone sell your body for sex. Or the what the stereotype is, being abducted and sent overseas somewhere, and God knows what happens to you. These are all different forms of human trafficking. I think that if we as a society was more comfortable talking about sex in general and talking about what this means and what can happen to you if you go make this decision, that decision, whatever. That I think that it would save a lot of people's lives and would really kind of bring down the percentage rate of human trafficking, because it's huge. It's a huge business. And so for me personally,
Yeah.
it was a boyfriend that coerced me. I was 17, very young. I moved out of the house at 17, got me into doing drugs. So I had never done a drug in my life. I never did it in high school like a lot of my friends. I always said no. So I started doing drugs, coerced me into doing it. And, I was doing sex work for a couple of years and a lot of drugs. And obviously, this is the one that he, abused me and, abducted me, stabbed me in the arm. He beat me up in the face. I had to get plastic surgery on my face. And so I decided that when he abducted me that last time and punched me in the face and did all that damage, that was it. And it was actually, which is crazy, and I tell people this, I'm this young woman that just had this traumatic experience, knowing that it's wrong, but my mom forced me to go to court to press charges against him, and I was bawling the whole time in court. Even though he did this to me, I was so upset to do that to him. Just think about how crazy that is. And after that moment, I decided I wasn't talking to him at all for at least 30 days. I didn't call him. I just completely cut off communication. And I remember, like, when I had talked to him after that, he's like, "You were a diamond in the rough." He then at that point had something nice to say to me, which is so crazy and bizarre. But it was not, I didn't really have, like, that was just, I mean, that's kind of pretty typical, I think, for a lot of women. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm lucky to have made a decision to be strong enough to get out of it and to just raise my life and my value, self-worth to a higher level.
And when he complimented you like that, calling you a diamond in the rough, how did that make you feel?
I'm trying to think back because this is so long ago. This is like almost 20 years ago, maybe more than that. More than that. Um, I don't know. I just was just like, okay, now you want to say I'm a diamond in the rough. I always knew it, but now you think that I am. And it's just, I don't think it was a manipulation thing. I just think that he was finally seeing that what he lost, and you know, because through all that stuff, I was always very positive, very loving, very doting. I'm a caretaker by nature. I'm a lover. I want to serve. I'll serve my man. I'll give you whatever you want. Let me rub your feet at night. All that stuff. No, I spoil my men. So I think that he realized what he lost. It was like, oh shit, what did I do to this person?
Yeah. And I think it was a very big message when you were pressing charges as well on him.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I didn't do that. I mean, if my mom wasn't there, I probably wouldn't have done it. But thank God she was.
Hmm. So you were talking about your personality, how you're a caretaker by choice. I mean,
By nature.
like naturally, by
Yeah.
nature. Sorry. And I know there's another description you've used for yourself, which is having a type A personality,
Oh yeah.
being being the first, being the eldest of five children.
Yeah.
And so I want to give like the definition that I've seen of a type A personality, which refers to a pattern of behavior and personality associated with high achievement, competitiveness, and impatience, among other characteristics. Do you think this defines you accurately?
Yeah. I mean, I've definitely a high achiever. I always have to be going after something. I always have to be excelling and doing something that is getting me to the next level. I am competitive. I'm not as crazy competitive where it makes me angry. I don't think that's healthy. I think being competitive in a healthy way is very complimentary to someone. But my patience, I've worked on that big time, because I think that patience is a virtue. And we, in this life, if there's anything that we should all learn, is we have no control over anything. Like, control is an illusion. And if you're going to get impatient over something that you have no control over, that is kind of like, to me, is like psychotic. Like, you need to just chill. So that's something that I've had to teach myself. But I still think of myself as a type A person, because I like I like perfection. I do. I like things to be clean. I hate to make mistakes. I want to be achieving. I want to be accomplishing things on a daily basis. I want to be like, go, go, go. Let's do it. Let's do it. So I will always think of myself, but I'm trying to lose the negative parts of being a type A person.
And other than impatience, what do you think are the negative parts of being a type A person?
Never being satisfied. I think that's a big negative part of that. But, I think you have to value your accomplishments and see where you've been to where you are, in the present, and to remind yourself of all the things that you've done. So, yeah, I think that never being satisfied is another one.
Hmm. It's interesting about the never being satisfied part. Is that what is that what you think drives people?
Yeah,
Specific people with the type A personality just
yeah,
makes them constantly on the go,
yep,
have such high energy. They just want to constantly do something.
yep. Absolutely. Or else why would you? If you've already accomplished so much and you're going to keep accomplishing things, if you're, whatever you're working on, you can relax. You can like chill, find your zen, and just live in the moment. And so people that are high achievers type A that haven't come to that place yet still have got a lot of inner work to do, because you should find satisfaction in just daily brushing your teeth. Like, thank you, whatever your higher being is. Thank you for allowing me to be here today to brush my teeth, to have this peaceful moment right now, have running water and toothpaste. Or for me, like when I'm cooking, I find so much peace in cooking. Like just to live in that moment and just to, like, I'm creating something from nothing. So
Hmm.
I think that to find the satisfaction in every little thing that you do is a beautiful thing.
I think another way that to describe it is being mindful
Yes.
or being present.
Yes. Yep.
You know, I've I've been trying to practice this myself as well. And one way of doing it is whenever I'm just doing something simple like cooking
Mm.
or even eating or cleaning, I try my best to like just focus on that task
Yeah.
and keep all the distractions away.
Yes.
And the main distraction that I try to keep out is my phone. For
That's hard.
example, yeah. So what everyone when they're eating, they're like either watching something or they're on their phone, or if they're just sitting down in their room or anywhere in their house, they're using their phone. If they're commuting, they're on their phone unless they're driving.
Yeah.
Um, Sometimes what I like to do as a to distract me from using my phone is people watching.
Mm.
I just study people by just watching their actions and their
That's always fun,
behaviors.
especially in Vegas or at the airport.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you have a lot of colorful characters there.
Oh yeah, or just, I mean, yeah, or I live in Chicago, so yeah, you see a lot of colorful characters here.
What's the weirdest person? What's the weirdest character you've seen?
Oh my gosh. Hmm. I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, you just see people doing random things or dressing a certain way. I mean, obviously, homeless people that have lost it, they're very colorful. So I would have to say maybe a homeless person somewhere that I've seen.
I've tried sometimes to have conversations with them, like crackheads, even just
Mm,
just to see how it goes. Like what I tend to do is I do like instead of just only talking to adults, I talk to children as if they're
oh
adults, and
yeah,
I talk to crackheads as if they're adults as well.
sober
In a sense
adults,
that, sorry,
sober adults.
sober adults, exactly. Because in the end, the mentality is of a child,
Yeah.
and I think for them, treating them differently would would disrespect them and would set them off, especially for crackheads.
Mm,
Obviously, not children.
yeah.
That's a different story. And for them to not get, I remember there was this one experience I had on the tube, so the underground, where this one guy was just, I don't know what he was trying to say, but first of all, he was just harassing the people around, and then he focused on me out
Mm,
of nowhere, just like locked eyes with, locked eyes at me and just started talking to me in this weird way. It was just like, I know you. And I was like in a very, crackhead motion. I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, I know you. I know you. And then he's like starting to threaten me. And he's like,
Oh, yikes.
once we get off this station, all his friends are going to jump me and all that. And I'm just like staring at this guy and I'm smiling because I know he's not there. He's not
Yeah.
really there. So I was trying to have a conversation with him, but at the same time, I'm just like, do I really want to like risk it that he might
Engage.
pull
Yeah.
something? I was just the whole time I was just mentally preparing myself for a fight.
Mm.
My fists were ready and
Yeah.
I was just tensing up everything because the moment I would have seen any kind of movement that I didn't want to see,
Yeah.
I don't care. I was gonna punch the guy. I had to defend myself at first, but eventually he just cooled it off, and then he out of nowhere he's just like, bro, I'm joking with you, and I'm like, okay, good.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. All right. Escaped a bullet there.
Yeah, those are not the experiences I usually want, but everything else, the other crackheads have been nice.
The other crackheads are nice. Get a T-shirt of that. There's other crackheads are nice.
Yeah. Now, I'd like to take you back to a fashion question, and I want to ask you about: do you think style has taken a backside to comfort in the modern era?
I think that there are people that have been privileged with money to create a brand for themselves, to make really bizarre off the wall clothes that people will wear just to make a statement. So I think that if you are a true style icon and value a classical look, you're gonna wear classical things. But if you're someone that just has tons of money to blow on stupid, ridiculous looking things, and I mean, then I guess it's up to you. Good for you to be uncomfortable. I'm not doing it. No, thank you.
So, how would you advise people to find their own style?
Hmm. That's a good question. I think to obviously wear colors that make you feel comfortable, and wear pants, skirts, shirts that are complementary to your body type. Because not everybody has the same body, right? I'm very
Yeah.
hourglass. I'm very Barbie-ish. So I like to wear tight fitting clothes to show off my curves. And there's nothing wrong with that because I've earned them. I've worked hard for them. But someone that might be like just shaped a little bit differently, there are different styles that you can wear to accentuate what you have. Everybody's beautiful in their own way. We're all imperfectly perfect. And so there are things that you can do to not look so drab or just look, boxy. I mean, there are some people that need help. I mean, in this day and age, we have YouTube, we have Instagram, we have all these different resources where you should have no problem figuring out your style, like figuring out like suggestions on what would fit your body type. If they have any questions to call me, I'll take you on a virtual shopping spree and we'll figure it out.
You just give them a free fashion consultation.
Yes, yes, for free.
Okay, so can I get a free fashion consultation then?
No, I think you're looking great. I told you I love the shirt. This is
In
great.
general, what do you think would work on me? So I know that I kind of have broad shoulders, so I try to like wear something that shows them off a bit. It's like
Yeah.
something wide shirt,
Hmm.
but like I really dislike low collars.
Low
I like
collars.
a bit of a high collar.
Yeah. Well, I love a man in a classic look. So button up shirt, nice slacks, like loafers, even like a sports coat. I think that any man looks good in a nice tailored look. So, I mean, you're wearing a nice button up, colorful shirt today and it looks great.
I guess I found my style then,
There you go.
right?
You sure did.
All right. I don't want to take a massive detour, but it is a bit of a detour,
Okay.
and I want to go to your husband, to the story of your husband,
My late husband?
if you don't. Yes, your late husband. Sorry.
Sure.
And could you share with us the build up into how it all, started and went middle and then ended?
Sure. So I met Rich in my mid 20s. He saw me talking to, he knew one of my girlfriends that I was talking to at the gym. I had just gotten out of that abusive relationship that I shared, a little while ago.
So he was
And
hitting on you while you were doing the squats.
yeah, no. So he told my girlfriend that he wanted to meet me. And I just said no. I didn't want to date anyone for a while. I just wanted to focus on me and just heal and just kind of, get back to a good, level headed place.
Yeah.
And I went, she kept asking me, I went on a girls trip to California, and he ended up sending my girlfriend some, I didn't know who he was at the time, ended up sending my girlfriend some stuff while we were out there. I come back walking into the gym with my sister, and he walks up to me, and he's a big bodybuilder. He was like 6'2", 330 pounds, all muscle, comes walking up to me with his other bodybuilding friend. Me and my sister walking in. Oh, how is California? My sister jumped like 10 feet back, and I'm looking at him like, who are you? You know? And so then, like, at that point, I went back into the gym. He left. I'm just like, that's a little weird. So the next time I saw him at the gym, I walked up to him. I said, well, this is how to properly introduce yourself. And I said, my name's Deanna. And then he gave me his card, and we ended up like talking on the phone for a long time. Ended up meeting for lunch. Went through a lot of trauma with him too. He wasn't perfect. He was a man with a lot of money. He was a millionaire. He was married before, had 4 daughters. He was 12 years older than me. He was actually, and I didn't know this when I started dating him, he was actually engaged. He left his wife for the nanny. So I had to deal with all that nonsense. I ended up breaking up with him. I ended up changing my number, saying I want nothing to do with you for like a year and a half. He went to rehab because he said he had love and sex addiction. Went to rehab twice. And when he came back, he was done with the nanny, done with all the stuff, and we started our lives together. He had put a ring on my finger for a while. He kept asking me for a date. We didn't get married until, God, when did we get married? 2010? No, 2009. I think 2009. But like we were on like the whole span of my relationship with him was about 17 years. And so I got very involved with him in business. He had one business that when the market crashed in 2008, was it 2007, 2008, he lost almost everything. I stood by his side. We restarted. I was an integral part of his business. I ended up closing several multi-million-dollar contracts. We opened up another installation arm of the business we were in automotive, and we had 3 real estate holding companies. So we were great. We were a great power couple in terms of business. He had done so many steroids. Towards the end, he needed his 3rd kidney transplant. It was the last 2.5 years of his life. He was just in and out of the hospital nonstop. He was still injecting steroids while I was administering dialysis. And no matter how much I fought with him, it didn't matter. He wasn't listening. I think he wanted to kill himself at that point. And when he passed away in January 2016, it was a pretty nasty situation. I had 4 stepdaughters, and they just they just tried to destroy me. They wanted me to leave with nothing. Luckily, I had a prenup that allowed me to and I had ownership in the businesses, so I couldn't walk away with nothing. And I had fought them for over a year in court. I had 3 attorneys, and at that point, I had to really just start my life over. I had a lot of people that were like, how are you even sitting here right now and just like balled up in a corner, rocking back and forth? I'm like, well, I knew he was not going to make it. He had given up. Like, he would cry, and like, it was like living with a ghost. It was, to watch a man, this larger than life man, lose his battle with life, that just give up when he had 4 daughters, he had a grandchild on the way, he had me, we had all these businesses. It was like, I mourned him before he passed. I think about him often. At that point when he passed, I spent almost half my life with him. I wasn't even 40 years old yet. And so, it's hard not to think of someone, that you had spent so much time with and had we lived a huge lifestyle. We would fly private. I had the Mercedes, I had the Ferrari, we had the 10,000 square foot mansion. Had all the things, but it just, he's resting in peace now, and I'm okay. I'm happy. I've got remarried, and I'm living more of the life of my dreams now than I ever have. Because that stuff means nothing if you can't enjoy it. If you're sick and I'm put in your, if you're being pushed in a wheelchair and you're working freaking 20 hours a day and you can't enjoy all the stuff that you work so hard for, it means nothing. It means nothing.
Oof, that was a very passionate explanation as well of the story, and I'm really sorry for your loss as well, Diana.
Thank you.
I'm pretty sure it was very hard, and also the betrayal from your stepdaughters, that should have been tough.
No, they weren't very good. They weren't very good girls. They were all about the money. They
Okay.
if it wasn't, and I know that they blame me for a lot of stuff, but it's not true. If they had not, if I not had not pushed my husband Rich at the time to see his daughters, to spend vacations with them, they would have never saw him. But I was always the one that, like, let's say take them on vacation, let's go out to dinner, make sure you call your daughters, or else he would just work, 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 and he would not try to connect with them at all. So I know in my heart that I always did the right thing in terms of making sure he had a relationship with his daughters. I mean, his oldest daughter was only 10 years younger than me because, he was 12 years older. And so,
Yeah.
I took three of them to get their driver's license. So I was a part of their lives for a very long time. And it's unfortunate how things happen, but that's life. It's life. You got to move it. You got to move forward. I would never have a relationship with them again because they're just toxic. It comes from the mother, from the ex-wife. The ex-wife was all about the money. She didn't care if he was cheating on her. She would just turn the other cheek, let him do whatever, as long as she could live the lifestyle. A lot of women are like that. I personally am not.
Yeah.
I will slap you upside the head. No, it's not happening. Not for me. I'm not that kind of woman. Not at all.
Yeah, I can definitely see that.
Hopefully, that's a
Um,
good thing.
no, it is. It's direct and straightforward and completely honest,
Yes.
which is good. So I've heard before on a TED talk that in a business there's usually the entrepreneur and the intrapreneur.
Hmm.
And I wanted to see which one do you think you are before describing anything of
I
that.
don't know what an entrepreneur is. What is that?
So obviously you know what's an entrepreneur.
Correct. Yes.
And from my understanding of an entrepreneur, it is an individual that is more in tune with their emotions and understand other people's emotions, and they're more, I would say, more of like the social butterfly of of running the company. So maybe
Hmm.
the entrepreneur would be the one who gets the resources, and the entrepreneur is the one who does the networking and brings the partnerships.
Hmm. I would think I'd say I'm probably both of those.
Both of those.
In my business now, how I run my business today, I'm both of those.
Yeah.
But in the past, I was the entrepreneur. My late husband was the intrapreneur. So even though I did a lot of contract work, he was he was an introvert, but when it came to business, he was an extrovert. If that makes sense. Like he was all about
Yeah.
getting the relationships. So we were a great complement to each other in business. I mean, we killed it. We were the ultimate power couple.
100%. And the thing is about the entrepreneur dynamic, I really believe that they learn from each other as well.
Oh yeah, for
They pick
sure.
up things from each other. So you say now that in your new business that you're both. I
Yeah.
feel like you might have learned a few things from your late husband
I
that helped you in this new business.
I did. I was always very uncomfortable being a self promoter, and with the last
Yeah.
like was it 8 years? It's going to be 8 years. Wow, I can't believe it. With the last like 7 8 years have taught me is to really um, refine the way that I present myself and self promote. Being a self promoter is not a bad thing. You have to be able to give your 5 second elevator pitch and do it like have finesse, do it effortlessly on the flip of a dime. And that was
Yeah.
something that he had down to a T. And as I've gotten more comfortable and confident in my own skin and building my new life and, just having to start over, I have learned how to self promote and talk about who I am, what I do, and just, do it in a way that's not boastful and not arrogant. So obviously, I'm sitting here on your podcast with you.
Exactly. It's the confidence that you built up over time to
Yes.
actually step out of your comfort zone and really connect with people,
Yes.
because you don't always want to just be by yourself working behind a computer, working on doing paperwork and all that. You also want to socialize. No
Yeah.
matter how much of an introvert you think you are, you do still want a part of you still wants to interact with others.
Oh no, I'm a
It's
total
just
extrovert. I love to socialize. I love to socialize. I meet people new all the time.
and it's very clear. I can see that of meeting you and talking to you, which is very cool. It's nice to meet fellow people that are willing to socialize and just network in general.
Yeah.
It makes life that more entertaining, in my opinion.
Yes.
So, I think my final question would be how what is the importance of having a partner when you're building a business? Like,
Hmm.
how much does the success of the business rely on having that partnership? And how do you find that right business partner?
Ooh, I don't know. That's a good question. So, I mean, you just a business, a partner in business, or a partner in life to help you support you in your business. Like, there's two different kinds of partners. So, if you don't have a
If
partner in
you'd
life,
like, you can answer both.
okay. So I was lucky enough I'm very business savvy. I have a natural talent for business. I always have. I was raised in an entrepreneurial family. My grandparents, my dad, like I was raised around that. So I have a natural skill for business. So I was lucky to have met my late husband, and I was a compliment to him. I was a compliment to him.
Mhm.
It wasn't the other way around. I think I would have achieved just as much success, if not more, on my own had I not been with him. I truly believe that now, knowing everything that I know. At where I am today, I have a partner now in my life that supports me no matter what. He believes in me. He's my cheerleader. He doesn't try to impose anything on me and my business. Even when if I'm having a bad day and things are kind of slow and I'm like, oh my God, what do I do? He's like, don't worry, you got this. And he's always right. He's always right. And so that is you need to have a partner. Like if you're an entrepreneur, especially as a woman, oh no, actually it doesn't matter, male or female, you need to have a partner that's going to, in your personal life, support you no matter what. As far as business is concerned, so I have two people that are on my team that I consider my partners. Do they do a lot of the work? No, but they do their part. They are not going to go out there and find the resources. They're not going to go out there and make the connections. They're not going to do any of the things that I do to make sure my business is successful, but they have a key part. And if they don't do their part, it's going to take a lot. It's going to force me to have to do more work and kind of slow things down for me. So you have to have people on the business side that are going to support you and be the right fit for the things that you are not, that you are lacking in. So there are things that I'm lacking in. And so I have people that complement me doing those things that I cannot do. And I focus on my strengths. They do their strengths, and together it works.
And that's great to hear. That's an amazing response. Diana, this has been great.
Yes, it has.
I just want to ask you if you can let everyone know how they can contact you, how they
Sure.
can find out more about you, and basically how can they get in touch with you.
Well, you can Google search me, Deanna Radulescu. I'm everywhere. But my main business is I'm a podcaster too. It's Label Free Podcast. I'm on all the things, and that's just, you can find me anywhere. Google search it, you'll find me. Instagram, the website, labelfreepodcast.com. You can shoot me an email. I'll talk about fashion. I don't care. Whatever. I'm open. I'm an open book. So feel free to reach out to me.
Well, that's great. And thank you guys for watching. This has been A2 the show. Saeed has been your host with Diana. And this is how we sign out. We salute to the camera and cover the camera.
Oh, okay.